So, as everyone knows, we're reading, last time we read Chandrakirti on 3, stanza, Nagarjuna's third stanza, and today we're rereading from the beginning of Tsong-kha-pa on stanza 3, and then there's a good deal more from Tsong-kha-pa on 3, stanza 3, Nagarjuna's third stanza. So I felt that the only, I don't want to use the word real difference in Tsong-kha-pa's rewording of Chandrakirti's commentary at this point was the insertion of the word where it's inherently existent. Rang Shingi. Now, what happens when you pay close attention to the words? Well, let's hope that what happens when you pay close attention to the words is that attention to the meaning is enhanced. And suddenly you find that the meaning comes to the fore, the words were getting more attention, but then the meaning comes out. So here it's the place. So if the place is getting the action of going, then the action of going on it doesn't have any action. That's the one we're doing here. So I was suggesting actually imagining the place. You know, one way of doing it is you've got the place and you've got somebody with legs, and this is how Chandrakirti is describing it, with legs moving up and down, right? Going on it. And so you imagine the action, and you imagine the action down in the area. So really, I should ask you, what kind of an area is it? Is it soil? You should know. You're imagining it. Is it soil? Does it have grass? If it is, does it have grass on it? Is it bare soil? Is it macadam? Is it concrete? Is it sidewalk? You know, please, you know, be concrete, be specific. And so imagine the action is there. And so then look at the legs, and there ain't no action there. Got it? I mean, even if you see the legs wagging, there's no action there, because the action's down there. I mean, you're playing the game now. And so how can you say the action of going is up there to make that have some going? There isn't. The going is down there. And I don't mean the word going. The fact of going is down there that makes that the area going over. That's one way of doing it. One way would be to, you know, imagine yourself, right? Your legs are wagging or whatever, and are wagging or not? Are they wagging or are they not? And and you've got the ground, and mine's switching back and forth between like sidewalk and this tan rug carpet here. When I had this apartment done, I had the whole carpet, the whole apartment, almost the whole, done in carpet so that I could walk in bare feet. But then it turned out the carpet had a little metal fiber in it. So if I turned on the carpet, it would tear, eventually, it took time, tear at the skin of my feet. So I had to wear socks anyway. So the action is to make this the area gone over. Let's say I was walking in the kitchen to get my coffee. That makes that the area gone over, and there's no action in my legs, okay? You gotta make the theater, make the movie. There's no, all right? You gotta, when I was a kid, you know, we'd go to the next town, which was, I have to say, was a class lower than the town I grew up in. Not that I lived in the best part of town, but not the worst part of my own town. You know, we all knew which part of town we came from. But if you crossed the bridge into the next town, that was definitely... but if you wanted to go to the movies, there was one movie theater. And of course, we couldn't have a movie theater because that's low class. But if what we wanted was in the next town. So you get on your bike, cross the bridge into that town, and pay your 15 cents to go to the movie. And I'd think about seeing the movie. And where's the seeing? Is it between the eye and the screen? Is it in the screen, at the screen? Is it at the eye? And, you know, you see I'm ripe for this. I didn't go blind. So, I still got to see Hopalong Cassidy. Hopalong. Hopkins watching Hopalong. He had some fuzzy old guy with a beard. I forget what his name was. Anybody know? Is that too long ago? Yeah. Newsreels. Yeah. So nowadays, I almost never go there, but there's a good restaurant over in Warren. The best restaurant is over there.
I think his sidekick was called Clyde.
Clyde? Huh. I have to check that one out. Doesn't ring a bell. Clyde? We wouldn't say Clyde. You don't say Clyde either, even though you come from down there, where I live nowadays.
I think it started at, we also had one, but he also had Gabby Hayes.
Yeah, Gabby. Yeah, Gabby.
It was Clyde and Gabby Hayes.
Yeah. Now I'll have to work on Clyde. Okay, so substantialize it, you see? And it'll serve as a big clue for how to do the other meditations that come up in different chapters. Like rage and the enraged, meaning passion and the impassioned. and it'll click at some point if it hasn't clicked so far. Because otherwise it'll be just words, and the meaning won't come to the fore, to the front, to the inside, and the impact will be missed. The evidence, when, that is, what does when mean? In the text, and Tsong-kha-pa says it means because. Now this whole thing here is just the because clause, because it's giving the evidence. Now when you read this, it's just the because clause. It is not feasible. And then this whole sentence is the because clause. How would inherently existent going on the being gone over be feasible? And then what Tsong-kha-pa says is that means it's not feasible. And so now, what's the evidence? And so here's the because clause, done out as a sentence. So usually when there's a because clause, there's a main clause. But there's no main clause to this sentence. Got it? This is just the because clause. And so when, we use when for because too. Same language. It is not feasible when, you see? It is not feasible because. You see, we're in the same language family. A term of present going is not feasible without the meaning of going. Well, the meaning of going already went into the land. The area is already in the meaning of the area. So, is going ain't got no going. But the action of going is used for the meaning of the term, the being gone over, right? Just what I said. And no more than one action exists. And it is also not reasonable for there to be no going in the meaning of the term is being gone over. Remember, it's a present past part, a present passive, third person singular, is being gone over. The being gone over is being gone over. Present, third person, passive. Hence, only the being gone over occurs, and is being gone over is not feasible. Now, if you said, if we make it a little easier to, put it in the active, I am going on the being gone over, make it active, am going. There's no am going, because we already used it for the being on the being gone over. Now this is called middle way ultimate reasoning. Wow, what a letdown. It's like child's play, like some sort of trick, right? We've been saying this all along. But if things are going to be solidly existent, now Tsong-kha-pa does a beautiful job here, what he goes on to say. Somebody objects. It is asserted that the two, only that the two well, this is, let's see. It is asserted that the two only is being gone over and the action of going are related. Yeah, no, I'm jumping ahead. So the person's giving this opinion, the is being gone over and the action of going are related. Okay. So Tsong-kha-pa spells it out. So it absurdly follows that an action of going does not exist in the meaning of the term. Wow. I thought we were talking about it is in, oh, that's number 4. Oh, yeah, it's over. Sorry. My mind was jumping on to the 4th one where all the beautiful layout is. Tsong-kha-pa goes into detail on number 4. Sorry. Old man. Is being gone over. Is being gone over is not the area, it's the verb. Is, like I am going. I am going. Am going is going to be number 4. Am going has the going. That's going to be number 4. Okay, now, are you with me? This is the lead in to number 4.
What exactly is the difference? I find it hard to imagine between the is being gone over and the action of going. Yes, action of going and the place being gone over. This kind of, you understand, one is like a place and one is an action. But if we compare is being gone over and action of going, they seem the same. But I mean, they're not, because I think they're not. It's just difficult to imagine what's the difference.
Well, if we say action of going and am going, are we going to use the action of going in am going, or are we going to use it in area being gone over?
My first thought would be that I would use it for am going.
Yes. And then we'll say to you, then area being gone over has no action of going. You see?
So actually, I'm objector.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we, frankly, I think that's what we are. And so, I guess what we're seeing here is that the fact that Nāgārjuna is using the third person passive makes us a problem. Is being gone, which doesn't feel easy in English. And thus we added in is being gone over. And even because that almost mirrors the being gone over, every time we see that is being gone over, does that mean is the being gone over? Or does it mean the verb is being gone over? So if we were going to turn this into English, we might say, well, rather than using the third person passive, we're going to put it all into either she is going on the being gone over, or I am going on the being gone over. I think I prefer I am going and being gone over because it makes it personal. You know, I'm reading it, but one could choose. It could be that making it impersonal. You know, the fat donkey is going on the being gone over, just like the chariot. You know, Chandrakirti uses chariot. You know, if you have an expensive car, uh, you might not want to use your expensive car. Because, you know, you've got too much going in it, so you want something not without much attachment to for the reasoning, to get used to the reasoning, and then move to something with respect to which you have more attachment. You know, my cruddy old chariot rather than my expensive new golden chariot. And in fact, Chandrakirti, I mean, he pretty much says that instead of meditating on yourself to get used to the reasoning, use the chariot. Tsong-kha-pa, in seeming contradiction, says, begin with yourself, and that'll be easier. And then the question arises, why do you begin with yourself? It says, and what His Holiness says is, because that is the basis of the horrible entanglement. But then that's the very reason not to begin with it, to begin with something more neutral. But the point is that if you make progress with the horrible entanglement, so then how could you make progress? And the answer to that is, it's because we have a coarser, there are levels of mistaken apprehension of I, self, with respect to oneself, and it's claimed we don't with respect to our car or our whatever. We don't. Is it true that we don't have coarser and subtler apprehensions of concreteness with respect to, you know, some article like, you know, a cup, you know, the cup that I cherish since blah blah. And one that I like but wouldn't mind if it was broken. Wouldn't mind too much. And then one that I wouldn't mind at all. You know, one that you could easily even forget about. Anyway. Yes. So, back to Chandrakirti and stanza 4. So, for those who know Tibetan, is being gone over. You see, if we do it as I am going, this would be am going rather than is being gone over. God, that would be really cool, wouldn't it? To have am going in there. That's why I wanted to switch to is being gone. Just drop over. But that's not English. And that's why in my original translation back, going over time, I use traversed, is being traversed. But, I mean, the word really is go, so I switched to gone, and then we got stuck with over. And the action of going are related. It is asserted that just is being gone over. Tsong-kha-pa changes just to only, makes it even clearer. And the action of going are related. In that case, since the expression the being gone over, so am going, right? I am going. Let's do that every time. It is asserted that just am going and the action of going are related. That's the objection. And the answer is, in that case, since the expression the being gone over. Yes, please speak up and stop me if I ignore I don't have a technique of ignoring people.
Going though seems like now you're comparing a verb to a verb if you switch it that way. Instead of the area to a verb. We're comparing the area to the action. But if you say it is sort of that just am going and the action of going are related, the am going.
The action of going means it's not a verb.
Oh,
It's a noun.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's cool. We're working it out.
Thanks.
Is in Tibetan it is also third person passive, or there is no
No,
such
no matter, there's no such thing as active and passive in Tibetan. Occasionally you'll find, excuse my language, but smartasses who try to find active and passive in Tibetan, but there's no such thing. There's no such thing as active and passive. There's just one thing. So you see, Tibetan does not have the richness of Sanskrit, but that also in this case makes it a bit easier. And
But can I ask?
please,
If we switch the is being gone over to am going over. How did you say?
well,
I am going.
yeah, I am going. Am going. Just because you have to make it. You can't put in the agent.
If we look a bit down where the answer is, at the bottom of the answer, there is in brackets Tibetan and Sanskrit, Gompala Joa, and in Sanskrit, and the English says the being gone over is being gone over. So here we would also have to replace the being gone over, and here it doesn't make so much sense.
Oh, you're right. There you put in, I am going over the being gone over.
Okay. I'm going
over the being gone over.
Okay, this now it's more clear.
Yeah, good. Now, I have decided to be the Tibetan up here where it says is being gone over, where I do the Tibetan as droa, that I decided later is not right. Because the Tibetan, in fact, is dro-o. Dro-o. And that should be, instead of droa, which is a noun, it should be dro-o. So in what I cited after is being gone over, I've decided to cite that as dro-o rather than dro-wa. Dro-o would be apostrophe G-R-O apostrophe O. And later on, that is indeed how I cite it. It's just dro with it. The O is a period indicator, finish the sentence indicator, which in English is a period. So, the Sanskrit indicates the person. Just as in English you've got to put in I am going. Gamyate indicates is gone by him, her, it. So it's completely needed in English to put in some person. And if you were going to, is gone over by him, her, it. Because it's third person. But is being gone over. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. It's enough. I'm beating a dead horse. Anyway, dro-o is better than dro-wa. And I'm coming back to your point, because action of going is a noun, and dro-wa, it's very ambiguous in Tibetan, whether that's a verb, whether it's a noun, but dro-o is much more like a verb. And you could even say is a verb.
And gamyate is a verb.
No question.
Okay.
Nothing but. Third person passive. Third person means he, she, it is conveyed by it. But doesn't have to be translated. Is being gone over is the full translation. Whew. But it's important. And so what are you going to do with the action of going? You're going to relate it just with is being gone over, the verb. Just with am going. Just meaning eliminating the area. In that case, since the expression, the being gone over, does not have a relationship with an action, and Chandrakirti just says an action, Tsong-kha-pa says an action of going. The meaning of the statement, and Chandrakirti doesn't tell you what the statement is, but it's gamyamanam gamyate. The being gone over is being gone over is not complete. To explain this, Nāgārjuna's treatise on the middle says, and somebody could say to me, why do you put the Tibetan first? As Leon Hurwitz who was teaching at he was regular faculty at the University of British Columbia when I taught here for a year around 1983. He's a great scholar of Chinese Buddhism and had many talents in Sanskrit and so forth. And I apologized to him one day when we were driving in some big road, big highway in British Columbia, outside of Vancouver, as I remember. I apologized to him for not putting Sanskrit first in some document. And he said, well, you're working from Tibetan. Meaning, just as I am working from Chinese. And I put Chinese, he didn't say it. I could understand his point without his saying it. Just as I put Chinese first. And from that day on, I had absolutely no hesitation to put Tibetan first. And so Tibetan comes first, Sanskrit second. Why? Because I'm working from Tibetan. For whoever asserts is added going on the being gone over. It follows. Now there's nothing clear here, but you get from his logic that there is a being gone over lacking going. Because the being gone over is, and then you get this lousy being gone over. But the only clue is it doesn't have hyphens. Because because I am going over the being gone over. We have found how to retranslate this and how to retranslate the whole second chapter. And that's easy to do. Just do a job on it. It's easy. Make it approachable. Cool. This is what happens when, it's like I was saying, the University of Virginia is a major research university. As the dean said when I went there, I forget the context in which he said it, and it wasn't just to me, although he and I were, he was supportive. He said, we intend to be, we want excellence. He didn't say, we live in a corner of America, we have to do as well as we can or something. We have to get by. He said, we want excellence. And when I heard that, I thought, this place has a chance. And I thought, I can do what I want to do. I've got a chance to do what I want to do. And so I did it. For the position of a disputant, whose position is that going is on the being gone over. Yeah? And who asserts an action of going. Now these are, who asserts an action of going that depends on what has the name of being gone over. Empty of an action of going. You see the meaning of empty here. It's like it's a cup of coffee that doesn't have any coffee in it. In the descent into Lanka Sutra, the Lankavatara Sutra, emptiness does not mean a temple that is empty of monastics. Doesn't mean that. But here empty means this. You see, that kind of empty. It absurdly follows that going does not exist in the being gone over. That is, what does this mean? The being gone over would be bereft of going. This is because I am going over the being gone over. And my going has the action of going. You see? You imagine yourself, and the going is right here in my movement, my moving of the legs. And it's not down there in the area. You're this is a super literal person. As my mother said, you're too literal. You can see where I got it. Okay. This is it. So the Tibetan really can't handle this. Well, actually, we should stop here. All right.
Okay.
So now we got one short paragraph, and then look at what Tsong-kha-pa does with this. He does with this just what he did with expanding what he did earlier in trying to work out how you can have dependent arising. He works out how you can still have the dependent arising of going. It's a really marvelous what he adds into Chandrakirti's text. So, see you in a week if your heads haven't split apart and your brains drained out onto the sidewalk or the walk where you are walking. See you around.
Thank you.